I want you to picture this. Imagine you have a very educated argument. The argument is amazing, it's infallible. Let's say it's something very simple and basic, such as bananas are berries. Something easy like that, or you even say pickles, despite everything you think, are actually fruits. You may be saying to yourself, I know this for a fact. Okay, 100%. And then you put this opinion online. And everybody is agreeing with you. They Google it, they look it up. And then one guy comes out of nowhere and he says, yeah, but boom. Upon seeing this, you have no clue what he's going to say. You know for a fact that bananas are berries. As a matter of fact, you are 100% about your facts. It's like saying the skin is called the epidermis. You are 100% knowing of this fact. And then out of nowhere, he says, source, and you just say Google it or go to Google and look it up. And they don't do the basic effort of doing that. As a matter of fact, I saw somebody a few days back share a news article. I was super excited to see what they were talking about. It's a news article that said, did you know that 70% of polyamorous relationships end up in violence? And I said, that's interesting. So I read the article, and in a case study of 100 people surveyed in the Portland, Oregon area, very small anecdotal evidence, such incredibly small anecdotal evidence. I said, this is actually only from a study group within Portland, Oregon. And then he said, yeah, but the article headline says they didn't read the article. I didn't know that. I didn't know they didn't read the article. I assumed they read the article. I assumed they were trying to engage in some honest, good discussion. That's what I assumed. That was my thought process. I thought they were engaging as a good actor, saying something along the lines of, yeah, I'm engaging in with this piece of media, this literature, as a real person, not as some random person just trying to cause rage bait. But that seems to be the common nowadays thing, where people often look at you and you could be spitting absolute facts. You could be saying, yeah, 100%, I don't think a man should have any control over a woman's body. I don't think anybody should have a true control over somebody's body. They should be allowed to do as they want to. That just is how people should operate. We should have freedom over our autonomy. Seems like a fair statement to say. It's fair to say that. And then somebody will say, yeah, but what about convicted felons? We should be allowed to beat them mercilessly. Yeah, but I think they should be allowed to pee, right? Seems fair. Yeah, but boom, comes up again. You're not even trying to have an argument. You're not even trying to have a viral discussion. As a matter of fact, one time when I was younger, I didn't know I did this. I proved my parents wrong. I didn't know I proved my parents wrong. We were having a regular discussion, and they had said, okay, so we're wasting a lot of money because we're going through very bad financial hardships. We were eating bread sandwiches with nothing in between. Everything was bad. And then I said, well, where's all this extra expense coming from right around this Saturday? And they said, well, we go to the club every Saturday. You know how we leave at around 8 o'clock? We go out to eat. And at the club, they spend $420. A crazy amount of money. They eat first and they go to the club, they drink. And my dad is spending a bunch of crazy money buying other people's drinks because he has it. And I said, you guys would save over $1,600, actually $1,680, 1680, if you guys didn't do this. If you guys just cut this expense out, you guys would be perfectly fine. Lo and behold, my parents looked at me with anger and vitriol inside of their eyes. They said, get out of here. You're not talking about finances. You're too young. I was a little bit confused. I said, maybe there's something I don't understand about that. Turns out I wasn't incorrect at all. As a matter of fact, if most people actively decided to just put money to the side and not go out to the club or maybe do all the extraneous stuff, that'd be great. Or maybe just cook meals at home, stuff of that nature. However, I felt like I was butting people. I was but. That's how I felt like I was doing it. But in reality, everybody does it. Everybody wants to get their word in. When you say a statement and somebody says with their whole chest, they say, yeah, your situation is bad, but let me tell you what happened to me. Yeah, you have a good point, but let me tell you, yeah, you did, yeah. And it's not to demean or destroy. I believe we're looking for a social interaction, maybe some contrarian in ourselves inside of a belief to have a little bit of a discussion. That's all we want. That's all we want. And that's okay. That's fine and dandy. That's all perfectly good. And I love that. I deeply enjoy that. I love when people go out of their way because they're so lonely that they just want to argue or maybe have that interaction or get a rise out of me. A lot of the time, people will comment on my videos and they'll say something very mean to me, or they'll message me personally and hope for a response. And then they'll get surprised that I respond. They'll say, "Oh, why are you responding, bro? Do you not have anything better to do?" No, I don't. Actually, I don't. I made my 5 videos today. I went to go jog. I'm great now. I have my food. I'm on my computer right now. And I see your message. Let's talk about it. Why do you think I'm a cuck? Go nuts. Why do you think I don't deserve to be in an interracial relationship? Personally, I couldn't do it. Okay, that's fine by you. Don't bring your self-imposed beliefs upon me. Yeah, but boom, here it comes again. It's coming all the way through. You could go to your parents and tell them, "Hey, I think that I want to be emancipated." Yeah, but you don't know what it's like to live. And you can show them the money you saved together, and they can say, "How'd you get all this money?" Well, I've been streaming on Twitch, and I have a really big following. I don't have a bank account, but my mom, you accidentally helped me open up a Cash App, and that Cash App you can open at 16. Boom, I have a Cash App, and I get money sent to my Cash App. I can't take donations correctly, but I have $17,000 saved up in my Cash App. Can I get emancipated? You guys are abusive, and I don't want to be here. A real conversation one of my friends had. Well, let me phrase that better. Real conversation one of my friend's little siblings had. And guess what? He didn't get emancipated. As a matter of fact, they tried to seize his money. Had to send it to my friend, and then my friend had to hold it for my friend until my friend's little brother turned 18, and then was able to move out the house. That was insane. That was crazy. That was nuts. It's hard to get out of an abusive situation like that. Hard to do that. Yeah, but there is parents, you might say. Yeah, but you shouldn't do that. A lot of times when I tell stories here, a lot of times when people ask me questions, they say, "You were the bad person in this." Yeah, I was. Yeah, but if you tell a story, you should be the good guy. Someone legitimately said that. Someone legitimately said that if I tell a story, I should be the good guy. These aren't made up stories. It's not like I'm trying to convince you of my good character and goodwill. You're too obsessed with being a good person. I don't care about that. I'm here to tell you anecdotes about my day. I'm here to speak to you. I'm here to have conversation. And a lot of people want to hyperimpose their beliefs upon the world, their beliefs of how they feel they should be as a human being, of how I should be as a human being. And they want me to be right and just and full of great vigor. That's what they wanted me to be. Nope, I'm not doing that. If you catch yourself saying, "Yeah, but," if you catch yourself doing this phenomenon that I've noticed in my day and day in my life, if you see somebody doing this, I want to tell you something. You got to calm down with it. I know deeply you want to have that conversation. You want to get a rise out of them. Monster Hunter, rise. You want them to feel how you feel. You want them to understand what's going on inside of your mind. And you want them to see that their worldview is different. And you want your differences to be not different at all. You want every human to think like you. Horrifying. Shouldn't do that. Shouldn't do that. Shouldn't do that. You got to be more than that. Don't yeah but people, man. Don't do it. Yeah, but don't.
I'm your nigga night, be my loyalties low. Ooh, happy to try what you need. Your world, I love to live in it. Ooh, I love the ride when you